Welcome to We in Lewes, a podcast dedicated to celebrating the remarkable, creative, and energetic people who live in Lewes and are helping our community forge a collective soul as appealing as it is unique. These are their stories in their words. They are the We in Lewes. I'm your host, Kevin McGinnis. Our guest today is Josh Barr, the founder and owner of Lewes's best men's store, Shorebreak. It's a casual coastal outfitter with wonderful seasonal clothing. In other words, it's filled with the perfect clothing for every social event in Lewes other than a funeral or a wedding. While not a BB baby, Josh is very much a native, having grown up in Lewes, attended Cape for high school, and graduated from the University of Delaware. Shorebreak is also the official clothier of this podcast and the only place in America where you can purchase our signature podcast hat. As you may have heard, random anecdotal evidence has proven conclusively that our baseball hat can make anyone look 10 pounds lighter and a decade younger. According to the scientists who were involved in its development, it has something to do with the colors and shape, but that's all we're contractually allowed to say. Today's episode is brought to you by our friends at Below Book Auto, sales and service on Savannah Road near 5 Points. And yes, it's the building with the VW sticking out of a wall. Harry Shing and his team treat all their customers with the attention and respect normally reserved for, well, important people. A family business with long ties to our community, they always explain what's needed, give you options, and stand behind their work. I took my car in with a problem that had stumped other service centers. They fixed it in 20 minutes. When I went to pay, Harry said there was no charge, just bring back the car when it needed some real service, which I did. The name might be below book, but their service is above expectation. Josh, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, Kevin. Thanks for having me.
Lewes is known for its variety of clothing stores catering towards women. Actually, quite a lot of catering.
Yes.
What led you to open a store geared almost primarily to men?
Yeah, there definitely are quite a few really nice women's boutiques and other stores that kind of, I would say, definitely cater more towards women. I think those boutiques, along with, of course, the restaurants and the historical aspect of Lewes, the proximity to the water, all of those things kind of create this atmosphere, an atmosphere it's really special, and atmosphere that I was pretty familiar with. And we thought that there was a need for a space for guys. You know, I know guys hate to shop supposedly, but they still have to wear clothes.
I know there's a phrase that women shop, men buy, and you get buyers in your store.
Yeah, you know, I think it's I would say it's split into thirds. We get a third of our customers are guys shopping on their own, a third are women on their own shopping for guys, and then the other third is couples shopping together. So it's kind of a good mix.
How did you develop your inventory?
That's a lot of trial and error, a lot of research, definitely going to a lot of trade shows, meeting with a lot of sales reps. You know, it took us a while to kind of hone our selection process, and we kind of found that what works the best was kind of selfishly what I liked the best. You know, I found whenever I tried to pick something that I thought, this isn't my color or this isn't really my style, but maybe a customer would like it, whenever I would try to do that, it never really worked so well. So selfishly, I kind of, if I don't love it when I first see it, a sample of something or a color or a cut, you know, if I don't really like it the first time I see it, I won't buy it. So that's that might be a little selfish, but we found that's kind of does the best.
When you were growing up, were you a stylish dresser?
Not really. I mean, I don't think I was a slob. I don't think my mother would let me do that, but I don't think I was especially.
You weren't
stylish.
Known for always having the perfect
No, I didn't
outfit.
win best dressed or anything like that. But yeah.
And what year did you open?
So we opened in 2009.
You sell the perfect T-shirt for men over 60. For those of us who don't look like, well, let's just say that some of the weight on our bodies seems to have converged in the middle. How did you find this item?
Yeah, that T-shirt, we looked kind of like everything else we pick out, we looked long and hard, and we kind of found the perfect fit for, about everybody. It can fit someone that's very slim and trim, or someone that's, maybe not so much. But that's.
Now you sell T-shirts, you
Yes.
sell polo shirts, you sell for what Lewes would be called a dress shirt, i.e., sort of a summer shirt with a collar.
Right.
You sell fleeces, jackets. You don't sell pants. Why not?
With a shirt, you got to stock 5 sizes, maybe. Pants, you got to stock maybe 20 sizes. So it's a little tougher, but we do stock a few pants.
Have you ever really misjudged something?
Oh yes, yeah. So kind of the nature of our buying process, we have to do a lot of pre-books. So essentially, we're buying 6 months, 9 months, 12 months in advance, for something.
So as of today, here in November 2024,
yes.
You're buying for the spring of next year, right?
Oh, we've already done all of our spring buys, and we'll be doing our buys for next fall here shortly. So yeah,
Wow.
it's it can make it a little tough to first of all know how much to buy. You want to have enough product for sure, but you don't want to be stuck with a whole lot. And if something does really good, it's hard to, maybe it sells through and somebody says, "Oh, can we get more of that?" Well, we can, but it might be 6 months, so that makes it kind of tough. But inevitably every season, a shipment will come in and I'll open up the box and I'll pull something out and I'll say, "Wow, this is just great." I hit a home run with this one, and I'll put it in the display window and I'll put it, prominently in the front of the store, and it'll sit there, and it won't sell. And I'll think, come on. And then pull something else out and I'll think, really? There's no way I ordered this. And I'll go back and I'll check my order, and sure enough, it's on there, and I'll begrudgingly put it on the top shelf in the corner of the store, and it'll be gone in 3 days. So I don't know what that says about my selecting or, my style, but that happens every year.
By the way, recently I needed to buy a tuck shirt, and I typed into my Google machine tuck shirt near me, and Shorebreak was the first recommendation. Do you secretly sell formal wear?
Well, I think a lot of our stuff can go either way. I mean,
A tuck shirt is sort of a tuck shirt.
well, there's things that can be dressed up, as you say, and things that can be dressed down. Kind of I think Lewes kind of lends itself to that a little bit. You can get away with something that might not be considered dressy somewhere else.
Yeah.
It can be dressy here.
This was not an event that allowed you to do that. No, you needed the studs
Come
and the
on,
whole
give
thing.
me this one. Trying to.
What led you to decide to create your own brand?
That's something that just kind of happened organically, really. When we first opened, we've always carried our own T-shirts, our own hats. When we first opened, we carried really a lot of other lines. And as we went on, we found that, for one thing, we really liked selling our own product. Coincidentally, that was kind of what was selling the best. So I kind of got a little bug in my ear, like, I want to do a little bit more of this. And also, the more times I was seeing other lines, I was thinking, man, I don't like this and I don't like that. And I remember I was dealing with a sales rep, and he was showing me different things. And he said, I don't like that piece, and why do they have that zipper there and all this stuff? And I think he was getting kind of frustrated, and he said, "Josh, why don't you just do your own stuff?" And I said, kind of light bulb moment. I was like, oh, okay, maybe I will, So that just kind of led us to kind of go down that path a little bit more, and it's been really rewarding. That's been my favorite part of having the store is making our own product and offering that. And now it's probably 80% of the store, if not more, is our own stuff.
And who came up with the crossed fishhook design?
So that was me, with a lot of help from my graphic designer at the time, Rob Waters. We played with that for way too long, I'm sure he would say, until we finally got it just right. I knew I wanted to do something kind of nautical, and once we got that, it just, once we saw it, it hit, and that was it.
If you know what the logo looks like,
Yes.
you can see it a lot around town. You'll pass people wearing it and so on. Is there a socially expected ritual when you're visibly wearing the Shorebreak brand and see someone else visibly wearing the brand as well?
There's no secret handshake or, fist bump or anything like that. It's I get a kick out of seeing it, obviously. I mean, it's very cool, but I think it's just it's funny now. I'll be out with my son and I'll see somebody wearing a hat or so, point, say, "Hey Dad, there's your hat." And I'm like, "Well, it's not really my hat, buddy," but and then kind of embarrasses me a little bit, but my dad, we'll be out to dinner or something, and if he sees somebody wearing a shirt, he'll go right up to him and say, "Hey, nice shirt," and they kind of look at him like, "Who is this guy? What's he talking about?" But it's kind of cool.
I have to admit, I had that experience. What approach did you take when deciding when and how to open your store?
That's well, I guess we should kind of go back to after I graduated college. I was trying to figure out kind of a couple things, where I wanted to be and what I wanted to do, as a lot of people
What did you major in?
Majored in history.
Oh,
It makes sense, right? So kind of at that point, I thought, maybe I'll go to law school. So, I took the LSAT and did okay, but I think I was kind of done with school. And also said, history, maybe I'll try teaching. So did a little substitute teaching, which was fun, but again, not necessarily for me. Also did a little bit of traveling after college and had some friends that had kind of started their careers in New York, Philadelphia, would visit them, and went to Florida and stuff like that. And just kind of, my heart was always just in Lewes. My family was here and had a lot of friends here, so I wanted to be here. And kind of was struggling, figure out what I wanted to do, and always had a bug in my ear, like it would be neat to have a store. And talking to my parents, they said, if you want to live here, especially at this time, might be a little different now, but 2008, 2009, if you want to live here, you might need to get a little creative with what your career is. So, I told them, I think I might want to do this, and I kind of set the wheels going to go all in, and I kind of became obsessed with, this is what I'm going to do. And that's great, to have that idea, but then you got to find a space to do it. As you know, there's not a whole lot of vacant retail spaces downtown Lewes, not a whole lot of for rent signs. So we got lucky. There was across from the Buttery, there's a really neat old Victorian building that was in the process of being totally redone. And the owner of the building wanted to have some kind of business in the first floor, and they were to live in the second and third floor. For whatever reason, we put in that we wanted to open a men's store as a 23-year-old, and I think might have gotten a little bit of help from Leanne, who was the realtor, probably put in a good word for me. I think Matt might have put in a good word for me, and she decided to let us go.
But was there a moment when as you were thinking about doing something creative,
Mm-hmm.
creating your own niche, how did you reach clothing store?
Well, I kind of grew up in it a little bit. My mother has a women's boutique, and actually the space that I'm in now, when I was growing up, she was working in that space. It was the
Really?
Jetty. Yeah. I can remember after school being back in the back office doing my homework, or supposed to be doing my homework, while she was working some days. So, and yeah, I kind of grew up in it, that aspect, and grew up downtown a little bit. So, and always saw that it wasn't really a men's store. There wasn't really, and thought that it might be good to give it a go.
Did you work in other clothing stores just to get an idea of the business?
No. So, no other retail experience. My first job was actually at King's Ice Cream. Started working there when I was 14, which I think is the absolute perfect job for a kid. I mean, you learn how to talk to people, deal with customers, work a cash register, deal with coworkers, and eat all the ice cream you want. I mean, it's pretty good. So yeah, that was my very first job.
But then you kind of moved up the ladder.
I did, yeah. So started scooping, and then when I was 16 or 17, I actually started doing deliveries for King's. And Tom King, he was a friend of my dad's, and I'd kind of known him, but I really got to know him really well while doing those deliveries. And that was kind of my introduction to business, I would say. I mean, I saw how he, ran King's and how he treated his employees, how he treated people. So that was kind of, he really became kind of a mentor to me. And it was a super fun experience. I put a lot of miles on that King's ice cream van. Got my first speeding ticket in the first flat tire. It was a very fun experience doing that, and I definitely learned a lot.
Did you get involved as you were moving up? Did you get involved in the production?
I did a little bit, yeah. That was another interesting side of it. I think I like delivering a little bit more. There's a little bit of it's kind of tedious making the ice cream. At least when you're delivering, you're out and you're driving, and you can listen to music and that kind of thing. But yeah, the making of the ice cream wasn't my favorite. I don't think anyone on here has talked about Mr. Kane. Mr. Kane was a big part of Lewes in general. Tom was just a really big influence on me, not only as a boss, but he kind of became almost like another father figure. He was very very patient with me. Being the delivery driver at 17 came with a lot of oops moments. But he would always be there to listen and help me out. And I don't know why he trusted me as much as he did, but he did, and it meant a lot, and kind of helped me grow my confidence and kind of grow into who I was going to become.
When you came back to town after college, you were trying out teaching and some other things.
Yes.
Did you work in retail at least to get some retail experience?
No, I didn't actually work in retail then either. I decided to serve at Striper Bites for Matt. That was I had a couple of buddies that were working there, and actually my sister was the GM there, so it was kind of a logical step to do that.
You've mentioned Mr. King.
Yes.
You've mentioned Matt. Did they give you some examples of what to do or not to do in terms of how you wanted to run your business? And of course, with Matt sitting here, I'm assuming in Matt's case, it was always what you would want to do.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. No, for sure. I think mostly what I learned from them is just like how to treat people. I mean, people would come into Striper Bites just to see Matt all the time. Is Matt here? Is Matt here? Kind of got annoying sometimes, but you could see that people, I mean, they loved Striper Bites, obviously, because it was a great place, but, I mean, they wanted to see him, and they wanted, that part of it, too. And I think it was kind of the same with Mr. King. The people, they loved Kings and stuff, but they loved him, loved what he brought to it. So that's, I mean, kind of learn that if you treat people well, they're gonna want to support you and want to be there for you. I just want to say, when Matt opened Striper Bites, I think I was in high school. I thought it was really, really cool, but I was busy doing high school stuff. Once I started working there and got to experience it for everything that it was and everything that it did for the town, I think that was a turning point to making Lewes kind of what it is today. I mean, so many restaurants have opened after that I'm not sure would have had the guts, the courage to do so if they didn't see that blueprint. And, I think Rehoboth was always seen as the restaurant beacon at the beaches. And I think when Matt opened Striper Bites, that kind of let people think, well, hey, maybe we can do that here too. And I think that kind of also did that for me, to see someone like Matt, kind of a, younger guy that can do something like that. You look and say, hey, maybe I can, maybe I can do something like that too. And, really, really kind of served as a role model and gave me some motivation to do so.
Did you feel that when Matt opened it up, it had appeal for a younger audience or younger
For sure,
customer
yeah.
base?
I mean, I think just the whole vibe of it was just something fresh and new to Lewes, I think, and it was exciting. It was exciting to work there. It was just. I'm not exaggerating when I say that I think it was a turning point for the town.
Are there certain things that you immediately took, given your knowledge of the community, to promote the store?
Yeah, I mean, we were pretty, when we opened, we were pretty grassroots as far as promotion-wise. We didn't have a whole lot of money, so we were just trying to talk to as many people as we could, and that kind of helped knowing the community. You know, we had a lot of people to talk to, and we kind of spread the word that way. But that definitely helped, and it definitely helped having my mom having a business, a retail store, a women's store. She could kind of show me. She showed me a lot. I mean, I don't think I would have done it I would have even tried to open if she didn't have a store and she didn't guide
Was she
me.
really helpful? And also
Oh my gosh.
the business stuff you have no idea of.
No idea. Yeah. I mean, that's a whole new world. And yeah, she was just amazing. I definitely wouldn't have been able to do it without her.
Did you ever have, given the name, some confusion? Because I believe there's a restaurant in Rehoboth named
Oh,
Shorebreak.
yeah, the Shorebreak Lodge. Yeah. No, we opened a couple years before they did. So no confusion there. We do still get maybe 2 or 3 times a year we'll get a call for a reservation. But other than that, no real confusion. Great spot. Great restaurant, though.
And then you moved.
We did move, yeah. So beginning January 1st, 2016, we moved from our location on Savannah Road to where we are now, 123 2nd Street, right next to Half Full. And I actually moved the same day. I moved the business and also my residence. We bought a house and we moved on the exact same day. So
Seriously?
yeah. So those 4 or 5 days were very long. Not a whole lot of sleep, but yeah, we were rolling racks down 2nd Street and moving van down Savannah Road. It was a lot, but definitely worth it.
One of our previous guests, Katie Ackerman, shared that the small businesses here in town, they kind of look out for one another.
Sure.
They help each other in various things. So you found this to be true.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I think it's kind of I can't really explain it, but the business community here, everyone is kind of looking out for one another. Everyone wants each other to do well. I don't sense a ton of unhealthy competition, especially, like during COVID, for example. I mean, everyone was just had each other's backs, was trying to, how you guys doing okay? What can we do to help? And, when people come in the store and I get talking to them, maybe it'll be their first time visiting the town. I'm so happy to tell them about, Katie's great store, or, this amazing artist, painter, Abraxas that we have in town, or, how good the pizza is at Half Full, or, oh, you've got a dog. Have you checked out Pups? I see a book under your arm. Go check out Biblion, just I'm happy to do that because I mean, all these people are my friends, and, I'm proud to be a part of this business community where everyone kind of lifts each other up.
There's some signature business events on the Lewes calendar: sidewalk sales, hospitality night, holidays, parades, what seem to be basically one major weekend event 52 times a year. But do these actually have any impact on your business sales?
Yeah, I mean, I think more than like pinpointing a particular date or weekend, it kind of just creates a general culture in town, that there's going to be stuff going on. There's going to be activity. There's going to be a welcoming atmosphere whenever you come. Obviously some of those times are a little bit busier and more active than others, but I just think it helps to promote a kind of welcoming atmosphere.
How important is the summer to your bottom line?
It's very important. Obviously, I think we probably do maybe a little less than half of our business for the year from Memorial Day to Labor Day. So, yeah, you really need that time. But we've noticed, even since we opened, those shoulder seasons becoming that much more important. It used to be, definitely January, February, March into April was pretty sleepy, and kind of had to kind of get through those times. And might still be a little sleepy January, February, but that time's getting smaller and smaller all the time.
Do you think Lewes could have the business variety and vitality that it does without the summer season?
Yeah, I think kind of to the point, if you would have asked me 10, 15 years ago, I would have said no. I think now we're kind of getting to that point we could. I think there's enough of a draw year round where I think businesses could, succeed without that huge summer push. Now, is it still really nice to have that summer push? Yes, of course. But it's not as, crucial, essential as I think maybe it once was.
The first Thursday in December is hospitality night.
Yes.
And could you explain it? Because I know there's some business owners that have referred to it as hostility night.
Yeah. I would like to invite you to come spend this hospitality night with me at the store, and you can decide which you'd like to call it.
Happy to do that. Happy to do that.
No, it's a really fun night. It's a great way to that weekend is really, really special. That weekend to kind of kick off, the holiday season with the parade being on Saturday. And it's really a special time around Lewes. And it's a fun night. You kind of take it for what it is. What it's supposed to be is a night for all of the businesses, merchants to say thank you, to the customers for the year. And it's
and you're expected to offer free food.
Oh, yes.
And drink.
Yes. Which turns into, kind of a thing of its own sometimes, but it's fun, and I it's a part of the town, and you got to have fun with it.
When COVID hit, you had been in business for almost 11 years. How did you survive, since you weren't selling liquor, or you weren't delivering food, or you weren't repairing bikes?
Yeah, I'll never forget. It was, I think, a couple of days before the actual lockdown, sometime in mid-March. Abraxas and I were standing in the middle of 2nd Street, and it was a beautiful day, and there wasn't another person or car besides our 2 cars. There wasn't anybody else on 2nd Street, and you could hear birds chirping. There was no vehicle noise, nothing. And we kind of looked at each other like, this could be something not good. That's kind of when I knew that, yeah, this is going to be a challenge. And then a couple of days later, they did do the lockdown. I think I was kind of lucky to be distracted. My daughter was born a few weeks before that, so I had some other things on my mind too, which I'm sure kind of helped me not spiral, in that really scary time. We had a huge outpouring of support from web sales. I went through the roof, which really helped. It was amazing. Actually had one of our best customers, who he's been a customer pretty much since we opened. He actually called a couple times, and he said, "Josh, I know you have to be closed, right now. I'm still working. Here's my credit card. Charge $100. Pay your light bill. I don't want anything." I mean, that's pretty amazing.
Wow, that is.
So it's just stuff like that, got us through. We had to be closed for about 2 months. Couldn't do anything. We were lucky enough that when we were able to open back up, we could kind of do our thing. We had restrictions as far as, maybe 1 or 2 people in the store at a time, but we could kind of do our thing. And I know it was probably a lot harder on some of the restaurants and stuff like that.
Because you also had inventory that could sit.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't have food going bad.
Right.
It's we still had bills due, obviously, but yeah, that was another advantage. So, and then once we got into the summer and things kind of opened up a little bit, I think people were ready to support us and everybody. So it turned out to be a good thing, but it was definitely scary there for a little while.
There's sort of an assumption by some who live here that our local businesses are pretty much immune to the normal vagaries of economic reality. But in fact, there are different things, some of which you might never even think about, such as the closure of a road or the installation of a sewer line, that can really severely impact you almost to the same degree as COVID.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, things like that sometimes are completely out of your control, that are going to affect you. Or how about the weather? You could be gearing up for a huge weekend. It's going to be a busy weekend, and then a big storm rolls through. People may think that Lewes is in a little bit of a bubble. They're still susceptible to the same things as everywhere else.
Is it hard to find people to work at the store?
Yeah, we've been pretty lucky with that. In the summer, we've had some really good college kids, that have worked for us for years. And then during the year, those kids are they're at school, excuse me. But we've got kind of a crew of retired guys that are just looking for something to do 1 or 2 days a week and are way overqualified for the job. But they're great. I mean, they'll do anything for you. They know how to talk to people, and they're reliable. They show up. So we're very lucky with that.
I believe one of them is your father.
He is, yeah, he is. He's good for about 1 day a week. That's about it. He says, "Josh, I really like working in your store, but I think 1 day is good." And coincidentally, he usually works Tuesdays, and Tuesday night is also happy hour night for him. So I don't know if that goes hand in hand, but it probably does.
Much has been made of what different generations consider to be a successful business. Many business owners in the baby boom generation, such as myself, they believe that you had to constantly grow, expand. You had to increase your visibility. Always the emphasis was on growing bigger and bigger because that was the way you determined success. And the business always came first. Maybe this is a big city versus small city approach, but it seems with you and some of your peers, your family comes first, and your business is designed to fit within or around your family. Bigger, again, is not always better or even necessary. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think it's all, you said priorities. I think that's kind of it. When we first opened, I was in the store every single day, and I was moonlighting at Striper Bites 3 or 4 nights a week. I worked all the time. That's all I did. I worked weekends. But then I met Jenny, and kind of don't want to work maybe every single day, and she doesn't want you to work every day. And you get married and have kids, and I don't really want to work weekends anymore. I want to spend time with my kids. I want to spend time with my family, and that's not to say that I work less hard. I've kind of shifted maybe when I work. I go in early in the morning. I get stuff done then. But I really value the time that I can spend with them. And again, lucky enough to have some people that can fill in at the shop to cover that. And I can feel comfortable leaving the shop, which wasn't always the case. But now I definitely can.
But your approach is not designed to have a business plan where you'll open a new store next year and another store after that, and on and on and on. That doesn't seem to be your goal.
No, I mean, we've definitely had conversations and opportunities to expand and open up elsewhere. It can only be one place at a time. My dad, during his working career, was in local commercial lending, and he says, just because one's good doesn't mean two's better. And kind of the same thing. If I had another store in another town or 2 or 3, would I be home for dinner? Could I put the kids to bed? Could I take them to school in the morning? Those are the things that are important to me. So,
is this whole approach, is this something you've discussed with Jenny?
Yeah, I think probably, I don't think we had to sit down and say, this is what we're going to do. She knows how important the business is to me, and she's been amazing, supporting me pretty much the whole time I've had the business, but she is more important, and my kids are more important than having to, open another place or, keep growing. Not to say that we're not growing. We've grown every year since we've opened, but that's not, we're not obsessed with it.
Where did you meet Jenny?
I actually met her in the store.
Really?
Yeah. And our first date was at the Buttery, the old Buttery, at the bar there, which if anyone knows that old bar, definitely had some magic there. So I'm going to give some credit to that for sure.
She didn't grow up around here, correct?
She didn't. She's from outside of Baltimore. And she's a lawyer. After law school, she got a job in Dover. So she was living just south of Dover for a while when we met. And then eventually I convinced her to move down here. Didn't take too much convincing, but.
What led her to being in your store? I mean, had
I don't
she
know.
heard about it?
I think actually she said she was looking for something for her brother. That's kind of, you see a pretty girl and you say, hey, who are you shopping for? If they say, their boyfriend or something, you say, all right, well, let me know if I can help. But they say their brother, you're like, all right, let me know if I can help. So, yeah.
How did you pull off, after you graduated from college, living year-round on Lewes Beach?
Oh, so it didn't start on Lewes Beach. Actually, it started in Rehoboth Beach. Me and one of my best buddies, we both graduated college and we're working for Matt at Striper Bites, but I don't think we were quite ready to stop living like we were in college, if that makes sense. So we had a friend whose mother had a little beach cottage down in downtown Rehoboth, about a block from the beach, and she was gracious enough to rent it to us for the off season, which was great. We had an awesome time. Lewes is great, but nightlife isn't exactly at the top of Lewes, which I think is great now. Back then, maybe not so much. So we had a lot of fun in Rehoboth, Dewey. We did, we would hop in the car, drive on the beach, fish for the afternoon, and then drive down the beach into Lewes and get our night shift at Striper Bites, stuff like that. It was just a lot of fun. But off season came to an end. I think it was maybe April. We were kind of bummed. We were gonna get the boot from the beach house, and I was just driving around Cedar Street, those side streets, and I saw this big for rent sign in front of a house, and it wasn't those for rent signs like weekly rentals. It was kind of by owner scrawled for rent. And I said, well, I'll give it a shot. Called it up, and Phil picks up, one of the nicest guys. And a couple of days later, we'd signed the lease, and we were in there.
Did Phil have the off-season monthly rate and then the in-season rate?
Oh, yeah. So this is, I'm almost don't want to say this, but so Phil, yearly rental, and a very reasonable price, by the way. And then summer would roll around, May, and he'd come over and he'd say, Josh, I know summer's coming. It's going to be, you're going to have to run that air a lot. You're going to have some high bills. I'm going to lower the rent $100 a month for the summer.
Seriously?
Yeah. Pretty amazing. I mean, that's just kind of people that you meet in Lewes, something like that, pretty amazing.
Given your age, because you were in your early 20s, mm-hmm. and you have a place at the beach, mm-hmm. walking distance to the beach, did your house sort of become the house?
It did, yeah. It was kind of the headquarters a little bit. And, for a couple of years I lived with buddies, which was a lot of fun. And the amazing thing about that was a lot of those little side streets off of Cedar are, the summer they're humming, but in the off season they can be pretty quiet, pretty dark. This one wasn't. There were 3 or 4 year-round residents there, mostly, retired folks. But they, I can't believe it, but, I'm sure they saw us moving in and I would have thought they'd be, oh no, but they welcomed us, with open arms. And, you kind of buried the lead on this one, Kevin, but one of those neighbors was you.
That's right. But we weren't here full time.
That's true.
We were flitting in and out.
That's true. But
we were raising the family in DC.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it was a really, really awesome place to be. Hosted a bunch of Striper Bites beach parties. And then eventually, Jenny moved in, much to the delight of everyone, I'm sure. Kind of settled things down a little bit. But yeah, that was a great place. We lived there until we made the move. So we lived there for about 7 years.
I don't remember you all as having loud parties. You did lose. You used to lose it on your fantasy football draft.
Yeah,
that was
I'm
the
sure.
one time
Yeah.
things seemed to get a little rowdy.
I'm very pleased to hear you say that. You didn't hear us. I can't believe it, but I'll take it.
What I do remember, and I actually didn't remember this, Kath remembered this, only because I think I had blocked it out of my consciousness, is we asked you, and you agreed, still can't believe that, to check a skunk trap we had to put in our yard. For reasons we never understood, we had a neighbor who liked to leave out food that skunks love. Little small chocolate donuts.
Oh, yeah.
And the skunks would eat up these and be so exhausted with the sugar rush, they would collapse and dug a hole into our crawl space and moved in and had a family there. And so one day we went down, it was like, obviously we have a skunk problem. And so we got the traps and set up. But then you had to check the trap for humanity's sake. And you were going in for multiple days looking for skunks. And I can't believe you agreed to do that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think I kind of blocked that out like you blocked out our parties. But, yeah, happy to do it.
Well, did you actually ever see one?
No, no skunk.
Oh, we did. We did. Now that your kids are starting to grow up, are you coaching?
I am coaching, yeah. I've coached both kids in t-ball, baseball. I coached my son in basketball. I won't do soccer, but I'm having a lot of fun with that. And, yeah, I'm trying to my dad was my coach for a lot of those sports growing up. I'm trying to kind of relive that, and I'm having a lot of fun. Hopefully they are too.
Do you think the life you and Jenny have created with one another and the approach you're taking with your business and your family would be possible someplace else, or is Lewes central to the success you've experienced?
Lewes has been, the backdrop for our story. I mean, that's where we met. It's where we got married, where we had kids. We're raising our family. Obviously, it's where I've opened the business, and I don't know if I definitely know I wouldn't be comfortable opening it anywhere else, when I did. So in that sense, I think Lewes was, is essential to it. And now I don't know if we could see ourselves anywhere else. I think I could have a life with her anywhere, really. I mean, I don't know what I would do, maybe scoop ice cream. But, yeah, I'm super fortunate that, I get to do what we're doing here, and I can do something that I really like. Jenny's a lawyer, but she works in Dover, but she's able to work from home a lot of times. So if we were living in Dover, we would have, a little bit of a commute to do all the things that we really like to do, go to the beach, go to the park, all the activities that make this area great. So living here and having all that available to us is, kind of what makes our life so great here.
Are both kids in school?
So Jackson, 3rd grade at Lewes Elementary. Kate will be there next year. But it's great now. I mean, we live right off of Savannah Road, so we don't have to go very far for any of their schools. They just built that beautiful new, middle school next to the elementary school, and the high school is kind of right, down the street from us. So we don't have to get out of town to get them to school.
Do you drop them off in the mornings?
I do. Every morning I drop them off, and I pick them up a couple of days a week. And that's another thing, that is very important to me, to be able to do that, and to be home for dinner every night. Just to be around them is essential.
Josh, thanks so much for joining us today, for opening up about Shorebreak, about building such a popular business as well as your life. And I really want to thank you for the continuous support of this show that you've given. You might not know this, but Josh doesn't make a whole lot of money selling our hats. Only like, what, $200-$300 a hat?
Something like that.
Something like that, right. Again, thanks for being such a good friend.
Thank you, Kevin.
And thanks to our new friends at Below Book Auto. They are simply terrific, even if they've never really explained why having a VW bug sticking out of a wall is a good way to demonstrate their auto repair expertise. Finally, a special thanks to you for listening. A lot's been happening in Lewes this fall, and the volume of events is only going to continue to grow. There's something for everyone, so I hope you'll have the chance to take advantage of some of what's being offered. Wherever you are, have a wonderful day. Until next time, from our prime seats here at the bar of Kindle Restaurant, this has been We in Lewes, the podcast.